Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda, and welcome everyone this morning, Sunday morning, for our weekly Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading and discussion with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and our assembled devotees throughout the world who are participating in this Sankirtan mission of Śrīla Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which has been somewhat, not somewhat, I would say completely destroyed by the people, our God brothers in the other mission that Prabhupada started, which was the ISKCON mission. And when Prabhupada came from India, he had this purpose to preach the Krishna Consciousness movement to the Western-speaking countries based on what? What was his mission based on? Vijaya Pandit, I'll tell you what it was. It was based on the instruction of his spiritual master, Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. Yes, he had received this order from Bhaktisiddhanta to preach the Krishna Consciousness movement to the Western-speaking countries. And that was his mission. And he came to New York, and we're reading about that in the diaries. The Jaladuta diary today, we're going to go over some of the features of his journey and his preparation. And so he came to New York, and what did he do? He went ahead and he started to preach with the goal, Krishna Katha, of recruiting people. Because you need people in order to spread a mission. The mission was to spread it to people. And then he was endeavoring to get a place to stay. And for a long time, he had no place to stay. He was just living from place to place. Even though he was a great scholar, a great devotee, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, he was put into dire straits, very difficult states. And then gradually, after he got to the point of opening 26 Second Avenue, which was in July, almost a year after he arrived in America, then he started to gather sincere souls to participate in the mission. And then by doing that, then gradually Lakshmi came. And with that, he started to engage Lakshmi in the service of the mission and give facility to the devotees who had joined him to learn how to become Krishna conscious through his personal instructions. So step by step, Prabhu, he unfolded Pierangelo, he unfolded the mission that way. So like that, we're in a situation where when something falls apart, you have to know how to rebuild it. So this is a rebuilding process, Vijaya Pandit. That's what we're up to. What is our mission? To reestablish the legacy of Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada, in his Vani incarnation, 1. 2, to restore his original unadulterated, unedited books as the only books to be distributed throughout the world. Oh my God, that's a difficult thing, isn't it? I would say so, gee. After all, look what they've done. They've been distributing these yellow Gitas, which have been changed. And Prabhupada explains very clearly, when you change something, this change disease, it's like taking something pure and then putting something impure in it. Can you use it? No. You can't use it. It's like milk. If you pour urine in it, can you use the milk to make curd or ghee? No, you can't. So like that, they've changed the books. And not only did they change the books, they put people into a position of Diksha Guru who were never appointed officially by Śrīla Prabhupada. No one was appointed to this position. So as a result, when you take this situation, which is completely adulterated by these misconceptions, the whole thing becomes contaminated or destroyed. That's the way it is. So we can discuss the history and you can point out this person and that person, but really our goal is not really to make proof of this situation. We know it. But it's to reestablish the broken dream, to bring it back to life. And this has to have a plan. And then once you have the plan, then you need the people. And then after you get the people, then the Lakshmi will come. And we mix that together and we will rebuild this movement. Yes, we will. It is possible. I wanted to mention, I was, one of my friends, actually it's Joe Felice here in Hamilton, Bhakta Joe, I call him, his nickname is Arjuna. And he sent me this video, I sent it to a few of our godbrothers here, of El Salvador, the rebuilding of El Salvador in South America. I thought, well, let me look at this. I wasn't sure at the beginning what it was about. And then I found by studying it or watching it that they had taken the most destructive country in the world, the most dangerous country in the world, and now it's being proclaimed as the safest country in the world in less than 5 years. The most dangerous country. You could not go out on the streets. You could not walk. You could not go anywhere without the risk of being murdered. And now it is been restored to not only safe, but the safest country in the world. So is it possible for us to restore the Sankirtan mission according to Prabhupada's plans and his preaching? Yes, it is. We can do it. But the first thing we need to do is understand our mission. Get that in your mind. Restore the mission. And we just went over that, so I won't say it again. And then after that, Bhaktajad, we have to prepare ourselves to carry out the mission. So the most important thing here at this group is to develop your sadhana bhakti, to develop your discipline, to develop your position of focus in life. and to sacrifice, tapasya, perform tapasya for this purpose. This will not happen without very strong individuals working together cooperatively as a team to make this happen, Vijaya Pandit. This is not some kind of whimsical thing. My godbrother talks about it. It's a Lassi Samosa Sampradaya. This isn't a Sampradaya where we're going to go and, okay, let's have a lassi. Let's have a samosa. And let's have a kirtan. Okay, kirtan, lassi, samosa, sampradaya. Okay, so you do that. Is that how you're going to restore a destroyed movement, Krishna Katha? It's been destroyed. The greatest movement in the history of mankind has gone down the drain because of whimsical behavior of our God brothers. Extremely whimsical. Do we need proof, Vijaya Pandit? No. We don't need proof. All we need to do is stand up, take a position, be disciplined, practice this process of Krishna consciousness carefully, and it begins by what first thing, Vijaya Pandit? Is it about taking care of your grihasta responsibilities? No. The first thing and the most important thing, everybody, is your japa. That is it, because Krishna is present in his holy name. He is non-different than his holy name. And if you take shelter of the holy name, according to Prabhupada's directions, and you practice that sincerely every day for 2 hours minimum, you can chant more if you want, if you have time, but minimum 2 hours, say, approximately when you do your japa. Chant it with a lot of focus, discipline, just like a MMA fighter, this Khabib from Russia. Very serious man when it comes to MMA. And he's a very good example to other people. I'm watching him, I'm seeing. He's a Muslim, he's very serious, Krishna Katha, not a joke. And he says very simply, if you're not prepared to sacrifice, you will not succeed. So personal development is a key part of this process. Coming to these classes, look at that. You know, people will show up when they feel like it. I know that. Well, that's okay. At least they're trying. We have maybe 30 people, 35 people that come to the program. Mediocre success, but better than nothing. We've started. And they talk about critical mass. I'm going to finish up Yaśodā Prabhu in a second, but critical mass in a franchise system means something where that it becomes self-sustaining as it grows, Vijaya Pandit. In other words, you get to a certain point and in it starts to expand on its own by its success. So like that, we're trying to get to a point of critical mass. Now, it appears to us as a group that we're getting better at what we're doing. And people all over the world are getting in touch with us. A lot of people are watching this program, by the way, on YouTube based on time zone difference. But we're getting momentum. It's coming. So eventually, if we keep pushing and pushing, Vijaya Pandit, keep going at this, please. Don't stop. Keep going. Eventually, we'll reach a point of critical mass. This will start to expand on its own by the enthusiasm of its membership, the quality of the membership, the potency of the membership. The spiritual potency is what makes this thing work, Bhaktijad. It doesn't work by mundane calculations. It doesn't work by material speculation. It works by the mercy of the Guru and Krishna. And you have to invoke that. we have to invoke it within our group. It's a personal responsibility that each person in this program has to accept. If you're not serious, go away. It's not going to help. Be serious about this. We're all trying to be serious. I'm sorry if I'm directing it. I'm also trying very hard to get serious. We're all stumble through this world of illusion, trying to overcome the modes of material nature. But it is everyone's individual responsibility here to be serious and cooperate and work together. Develop your own spiritual character. And we will push this movement on and please our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And that, Bhakti Jad, is the secret of success in making spiritual advancement. There is no other way. This is crystal clear to us. Just so you know, Krishna Katha, there is no confusion here when we're explaining this. Not with us or with Prabhupada's instructions to us, which we're all reading every day. And I've reached the time. I'm going to stop. Let's go to the diaries. Try not to speak so much. I apologize, everyone. I'm meditating constantly on this and trying to share this with all of us, this understanding that we as a group are getting, and then focusing the group in a direction every week. Every week. Look, we're already June 30th, 2024. How much have we achieved this year, Vijaya Pandit? How much have we actually achieved? Well, something, but we're certainly not like the group in El Salvador that took the most dangerous country in the world and made it the safest country in the world in less than 5 years. There's a lot for us to do. Here we have, let's go for the picture. So we're at the Jaladuta Diaries, and look at this. India, preparation for passage to America aboard the Jaladuta. And we talked about that. And if you flip over again, we looked at this picture earlier. Here is the passage. And I wanted to focus in on you see those little numbers there on the journey, Krishna Katha, 1. So if you go over to the left, Prabhu, there's the little explanation here. 1, August 13th, Prabhupada, thank you very much. August 13th in Calcutta, that's when he left. And then 2 is Colombo, August 17th. August 22nd, Cochin. And then they made their way all the way to September 2nd, Port Said, Suez Canal. And then it shows him crossing the ocean, and we'll read about that as we move forward in the pastime, amazing pastime, to Boston on September 17th, 1965. And then September 19th in New York City. And Prabhupada arrived there with no money, as Nilesh Sharma was saying, 40 rupees, and a bag of cereal that he had taken with him, and 2 cases of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatams, the Delhi edition, 2 large trunks with 200 sets, Vijay Pandit. The route taken by the Jaladuta to Calcutta, from Calcutta to New York, the dates indicate the places where the ship docked during the journey. Okay, and on the next page, we have the front cover of the diary. And Śrīla Prabhupada signed his name at the top. You can kind of see it there scratched at the top. And then the front inside cover of the diary. There's the wonderful vessel that he was aboard. And then here we go to Prabhupada sitting outside the room at the Radha Krishna temple at 2439 Chipawala Kalan in Delhi before leaving for America. In front of him are the first 3 volumes of his English Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Huh? Amazing. And going over there to this next side, the inside of Śrīla Prabhupāda's room. The miniature dome indicates that the Radha Krishna deities are situated directly beneath this spot. And on the right, the front entrance of the temple at 2439 Chipawala Kalan, which Śrīla Prabhupada listed as his residence. And on the left there is the veranda outside Śrīla Prabhupada's room. So very humble, very modest accommodation for him. And here we go to the next page. I'm not sure when I sent you. Okay, so the best compliments of the Scindia Steam Navigation Company Limited, Scindia House, Ballard Estate, Bombay. And here we have the personal information. And remember, you see these written marks, his writing, his script, I should say. And just to see this is very auspicious, Krishna Katha, just for people to see this. So we got, his name is written, see the beautiful handwriting, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Post Office Box number 1846, 2439, Chipawala Kalan, Delhi, Vrindavan. And then some kind of a general, maybe phone number, I don't know. There's some pages about the Scindia Steamship Company. I didn't bother to photograph them for us today because, you know, it's all right. They had a company, and thank you, Sumati Maharajji, for giving Prabhupada passage. I feel honored to have met her. And here we go to the next page. Yeah, here we have. So here's Sumati Maharajji agreed to let Śrīla Prabhupada reside at the Scindia colony, a compound of apartments for Scindia employees while he was waiting for his departure papers. That pastime's very interesting, how he was so persistent in his efforts to convince her to give him passage. She was reluctant. She was afraid for him because she thought because of his age, he may not do well there in America. Śrīla Prabhupada stayed and did his typing in this room. The furniture is new and was not there at the time of this tenure. Okay, so Śrīla Prabhupada held preaching programs in this room before he left for America. Little has changed since 1965. So amazing. The outside veranda of Śrīla Prabhupada's room, which is on the left, the room of G.N. Nagarajan and his wife, who gave encouragement and support to Śrīla Prabhupada, is on the right. So, some back in time, trying to visualize, all of us, the great austerity, the great conviction and determination that Prabhupada demonstrated. And here we have, there's an editor's note on the next page, that this is the first page on which Śrīla Prabhupada makes a written entry. We have omitted those pages on which there are no entries. Yes. And so on the first entry is Saturday the 3rd of April. Now the Andheri residence is good, and one set kept with Nagaranj and one set with Acharya. So he's already started. His first entries demonstrate that he is, Krishna Katha, thank you for putting up the Delhi Bhagavatams and for all the work that you're doing to sacrifice to get this Delhi Bhagavatams reprinted for us for distribution through our network of branch offices worldwide. We have 19 branch offices. Then we're going to supply the books to them and to other outlets online and otherwise, and get this mission recharged with the distribution of these amazing artifacts, these treasures of gold that Krishna Gata has in his office there in San Diego. So these sets were the first sets. It looks like one set kept with Nararanjan and one set with Acharya. So Prabhupada is very, very focused from the very first entry into book distribution. And do we have another page, my friend? Yes. April 4th. So here is the first entries. And please look at the handwriting, how small it is. You're going to see as things go on, as we keep reading, how the handwriting changes. The volume of information changes as the mission unfolds in front of Śrīla Prabhupāda by the divine grace of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, his guru, and by the grace of Lord Chaitanya. So he inquired from Mafatlal. That's a very big family. So he was pushing out with conviction to get support from other people in India. C. Sydenham Theosophical, SNDT, the charity offices. Wilson College, look at these appointments. Vidya Bhavan, Mr. Dastur Mutunga colleges. So making lists, carrying out these lists, methodically moving forward in a plan to spread the Sankirtan movement, even back then in April of 1965, April 5th. And on Tuesday the 6th, Madan Sophia Wadia, New Marine Lines, Theosophical Hall, purchased 1 times 3 copies paid, check for 48 rupees. So there we go. We're seeing how this whole mission unfolded in Prabhupada's own handwriting. And we could do it too. Let us all be organized in the same intelligent, spiritual manner as Śrīla Prabhupada and march forward together as a team to make this rebuilding of ISKCON through the Hare Krishna Society, Krishna Katha, a real success. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Haribol. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava. And then reading and discussion on that same Delhi Bhagavatam version with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu in the west coast of America.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Founder-Ācārya Jaya Radha Madhava Founder-Ācārya Jai Amaspat Paramahansa Parivrajaga-Acārya Sattvaresvara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Mokh Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giridhar ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू देयर समिति और ग्लोरी टू देयर समिति थैंक यू वेरी मच
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Śrīla Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Thanks everybody for participating in this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We very much appreciate the participation of anyone who comes and attends the class directly, as well as all of those who are listening outside. I just want to mention before we start the class, I have a devotee in Hawaii who is named Śrīla Prabhu, who is a Prabhupada disciple, and he has a business selling clothes. And every single day, along with selling clothing, he distributes Bhagavad Gita. And he's done this for many, many years. He himself has been responsible for distributing hundreds of thousands of books and getting other people involved in distributing Prabhupada's original books. We very much appreciate the service and complete dedication of Śrīla Prabhu. As we do every week, we will recite a few verses from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, which describes the benefit of hearing this great, powerful, transcendental literature. Text number 17 of the 7th chapter. Kindly try to follow yourself at your home there. Shrinvatam svakataha krishnaham punyashravana kirtanaham hridyantasto hyabadrani vidunoti surit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Text number 18. Nashtaprayeshu vabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Text number 19. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye cheta eterana viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time, the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Text number 20. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Text 21. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishwari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated, along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. We will proceed with our reading of the text today from Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 19. Nave jano jatu kantan chana brajet mukunda sevi anyabadanga samsmritim smaran mukundangri upaguhanam punara vihatamichet narasagraha janaha. Synonyms: na, never; vai, certainly; jatu, at any time; katanchana, somehow or other; navrajet, does not undergo; mukunda sevi, the devotee of the Lord; anyaved, like others; anga, oh my dear; samsmritim, material existence; smaran, remembering; mukundangri, the lotus feet of the Lord; upaguhanam, embracing; vihatum, willing to give up; na, never; ichet, desire; rasagraho, one who has relished the mallow; jana, person. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. My dear Vyasa, a devotee of the Lord Sri Krishna, even though falls down sometimes, somehow or other, certainly, he does not undergo the terms of material existence like others, the fruitive workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the mellow of the lotus feet of the Lord cannot go otherwise remembering the ecstasy again and again. Purport. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes disinterested in the enchantment of material existence because he's rasagrahi, or one who has tasted the sweetness of the mellow of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. There are certainly many instances that a devotee of the Lord has fallen down due to uncongenial association, like the fruitive workers who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, he is never to be considered as one and the same with a fallen karmi. A karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive reaction, while a devotee is reformed by chastisement directed by the Lord himself. Sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of a beloved child of a king are not one and the same. An orphan is really poor because he has nobody to take care of. But a beloved son of a rich man, although appears to be the same on the level of an orphan, is always under the vigilance of his capable father. A devotee of the Lord, on account of wrong association, sometimes becomes an imitator of the fruitive workers. The fruitive workers want to lord it over the material world. Similarly, sometimes put into difficulty by the Lord himself as special favor by removal of all paraphernalia in material values, by such action the bewildered devotee is forlorn by all friends and relatives, and the devotee comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute his devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that such fallen devotees are given chance to take birth in the family of highly qualified Brahmin or rich mercantile family. The devotee in such position is not so much fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord, being put into positions seemingly of helplessness. The devotee who becomes helpless by the will of the Lord is more fortunate than those who are born in good families, as above mentioned. The fallen devotees born in good family may forget the lotus feet of the Lord because they are less fortunate. But the devotee who is put into forlorn condition is more fortunate, because such forlorn devotees swiftly return to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless all around. Pure devotional service is so much spiritually relishing that such a devotee becomes automatically disinterested in material enjoyment. That is the sign of perfection in the progressive devotional service. A pure devotee continuously remembers of the lotus feet of the Lord Sri Krishna and does not forget him even for a moment, and in exchange of all the opulence of the three worlds. I'd like to point out that all the synonyms, translations, and purports are from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaham Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyayam Bhaktivedanta namine prasannaya prashantaya tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimad-Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tatkripa Pikshako Nityam Tatprishta Satkaromishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Śrīla Prabhupada touches here upon a very important point, and this is an issue that many devotees have brought up many times. Well, what happens if one does not reach perfection in this lifetime? What is the position of such person? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Suchinam srmatam gehe yoga brashto abhijayate. That if one is not perfect at the end of his life, then in next life he will take his birth in a very aristocratic or wealthy family or family of Brahmins, so that he will get the chance to pursue again the path of spiritual life, the path of Krishna consciousness. Of course, having heard this, it's important to remember not that somebody should go into the mode of sense gratification, think, oh, I'll just be born in a different situation. No, because there may be different circumstances. Prabhupada explained in one lecture that you should try to become Krishna conscious in this lifetime, completely in this lifetime, because in the next life, you may also not be able to get the body that you want. Everybody may have a desire to get a specific kind of body and a specific kind of circumstance. And even though Krishna promises many things, still we see in the story of Bharat Maharaj, although he had reached a pretty exalted level of love of Godhead, still by his attachment to a deer, he took his birth as a deer. So we have to use the intelligence. As for those who are non-devotees, and we've discussed this point before, their destination is unknown, depending on their attachment to this material world. Prabhupada one time was criticizing the over-endeavor of different individuals who build these big skyscrapers, big office towers. Prabhupada said, in this lifetime, you may be a big person on top of the building, but what will be the gain if you're born as a cockroach in the next life? But of course, people dismiss that by saying, oh, you only live once. Well, happy to inform you, you're going to live again. You are an eternal spirit soul. And depending on your thoughts and your consciousness at the time of death, you will reach a certain destination. This is also explained very nicely in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Krishna says, always you will reach that destination that you are thinking about. And the whole process of bhakti given by the Acharyas and presented by Śrīla Prabhupāda is to give everybody a chance to train the mind, train the intelligence to become Krishna conscious, so at the time of death, one can remember Krishna. Some way or other, one can remember Krishna. Now, one should not take advantage of that and thinking, okay, Krishna guarantees this, Krishna guarantees that. Because I've had many devotees ask me, well, what happens if we get into trouble? What are we supposed to do? Well, this is nicely explained by Sanatana Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. They describe, this is a verse from the Padma Purana, Bhumos kalitapadanam bhumiriva avalambanam. Tvayi jata paradanam tvameva sharanam Prabhu. One of Krishna's name is Prabhu, the master of everyone. That my dear master, I take shelter, tvameva sharanam. And it just like a person who tries to go up a slippery stairway by trying again and again, eventually one will reach the destination. So even though there are offenses in the beginning, one should try again and again and chant the name of Krishna. Never abandon the path, simply keep the chanting. Of course, nowadays, it's in previous ages, this was not available, or even in this Kali Yuga a few hundred years ago, a few dozen years ago, it was not available, all these modern facilities. Just a few months ago, by the kindness of my godbrother Vishwakarma, I'm pretty slow with technological things. I'm sure Venkat Prabhu knows that very well. And Vishwakarma Prabhu introduced me to Facebook and explained to me how this social media is a tool. It's a facility to basically introduce Krishna consciousness to many people simultaneously. And I didn't quite understand how it worked. I had a very basic understanding of email and maybe put an attachment. But some of these tools are wonderful. They're arranged by Krishna. So the name of Krishna, the glories of Krishna, the teachings of the pure devotee of Krishna, Śrīla Prabhupāda, can be available to everyone. It can be available. It's not very complicated. Previously, in India, if somebody wanted spiritual knowledge, you had to physically approach a guru on the bank of a river in a little village, under a hut, under a tree, and take instruction. That's how the teachings were disseminated. But with this modern technology and this Briyat Mridanga preaching, or this book, just like we have Krishna Katha Prabhu, right in front of us here, he has these first 3 volumes of Bhagavatam. This is the tools. These are the weapons that Śrīla Prabhupada brought to America when he first came. I had a conversation with Guru Das one time when Śrīla Prabhupada told us at one point in 1972 to go upstairs in the Radha Damodar temple. Upstairs from his room, he had another room where he had all kinds of artifacts from his days in Allahabad with his business, this chemistry business. He says, get rid of everything. And Guru Das and myself looked at this, and it's like, there were many booklets, easy journey booklets, manuscripts of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Hishopanishad manuscripts, and then we asked Prabhupada, what should we, Prabhupada, just give the books away. Give the books away to devotees and all the other things, but some of these other things were all kinds of things from his chemistry days. So we had to follow Prabhupada's instruction, but we knew we could not toss the books away. But what was amazing about Śrīla Prabhupada is his steadiness and his consistency. Excuse me. Prabhupada was focused on the mission right from the start. The minute that he got the order from his Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, the first time he met him, when he was told by Bhaktisiddhanta that you should preach this message, you're educated, preach this message in English. And then Prabhupada also told him 2 weeks before Bhaktisiddhanta departed that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told him, preach in English, this will benefit you and everybody you preach to. But Prabhupada's organization was very focused, very focused. Prabhupada did not deviate 1 inch from his mission. His Back to Godhead, early Back to Godhead magazine, the League of Devotees prospectus that he had in Jhansi in Uttar Pradesh, when you compare it to what he did in 1966 in New York to start his society, was very similar. Because the point comes up many times, well, what will happen to the movement with all these controversies, with all these problems, with all of these divisions, all of this internal dissension? The fact is, the Krishna consciousness movement will go on no matter what happens, because he was predicted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in the Chaitanya Bhagavata. Of course, those who tend to exploit the society or twist or misinterpret the teachings for their own personal ambition, that's a different crowd. It doesn't matter how senior one may be, how intelligent one may be, how much physical direct association one may have had with Prabhupada. If one distorts the teaching, there are very serious consequences. That is why in all these sampradayas, especially these Vaishnava sampradayas, they never change, ever, ever, one syllable of their Acharya's writings. And in our movement, we have a great danger, a great catastrophe that has been engineered by the very people that were supposed to prevent this nonsense from happening. That is why everybody on this call, this is very important, everybody has a role to play. You tell your friends, tell your relatives, your husband, your wife, your children, your mother, your father, your grandparents, everybody you know. Some way or other, give them a book, an original book of Śrīla Prabhupada. Some way or other, connect them with a pure devotee. That is the greatest service that you can do. Yesterday, I was referring to Bhaktivedanta Thakur, who wrote a song about the preaching method of Nityananda Prabhu. It's called Nadia Godhumre Nityananda Mahajan. And with that song towards the end, he described that the essence, Sarva Dharma Sar, means the essence of all religion, of all spiritual teaching, is to give people the name of Krishna. Krishna Nama, Sarva Dharma Sar. And how do we do that? Well, we can chant with the mridanga, that's 1 or 2 blocks away. But the Briyat Mridanga, the distribution of Śrīla Prabhupada's original books, not these adulterated, nonsensical revisions under the plea of grammatical revisions, and then the floodgates are open with all kinds of nonsensical misinterpretation. This is very dangerous. That's why Prabhupada at the end, his conclusion when he heard during the rascal editor conversation, when he heard that his books were being revised and re-edited in his very personal presence, says they cannot change anything. And the next most important instruction, the next printing again should be the original way. And this is the mission of the Hare Krishna Society and Prabhupada Disciples Association, to reestablish the Vani incarnation of Śrīla Prabhupada. And every one of you who wants to serve Śrīla Prabhupada, it doesn't matter if you met him, you didn't meet him, or if you got letters from Prabhupada, or you didn't go on morning walks with Prabhupada, that is irrelevant. At this point, with all the scandals, the fall down, the craziness, the madness, and all the independent people doing their own independent whimsical projects, doesn't matter anyway whether you were with Prabhupada or not. What it matters is that you have to adhere to the instruction of Prabhupada. What is that instruction? He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. And what we have heard from the spiritual master, that is living on, this is from a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class on the 13th of January, 1969 in Los Angeles, California. This is our duty, to always connect with Śrīla Prabhupada, to make up time to hear the message from Prabhupada, to decrease the eating and sleeping, and to focus on Prabhupada. And that is real love. Real love means to give that connection with the pure devotee who is directly connected with the reservoir of all love, Lord Krishna, the reservoir of all rasas. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, Prabhupada used to often quote, Raso Vai Rasaha, that the supreme absolute truth is the reservoir of all rasas. That love that we're hankering, it's available. It's available by hearing and chanting the name of Krishna and hearing the message, the unadulterated, unchanged, non-edited, non-interpolated message of Śrīla Prabhupada, the pure devotee. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was absolutely tremendous. To hear the truth from the voice of a sincere, dedicated follower of Śrīla Prabhupada, his disciple, his pure nectar, Bhaktajad. And this is the idea of this association, to share this information, which is very valuable and unknown to most people. It's a mystery, Vijaya Pandit. It's been, in many cases, kept secret from the public for whatever reason, nefarious reason. And it really indicates that there is some kind of conspiracy that's gone down. We call it, it's been termed by many of our God brothers, a mafia, the ISKCON mafia, which is a closed group of people that work together to commit a crime. That's what mafia is. And in this way, they take advantage of other people. So all of us should be aware of this reality. I wanted to go back to the purport today and make some references to Prabhupada's brilliant explanation. And by the way, it's interesting to note, Krishna Katha, that this purport was written before Prabhupada's journey to America, but it contains a lot of insight from him back then that became apparent on his trip across the ocean to New York City, where he suffered 2 heart attacks. So he was put into great difficulty, and he considered it to be a blessing, not a curse. So sometimes our situation may fall apart for whatever reason. You may lose your money. You could lose your family members. They could reject you. If you're married, you could lose your husband or your wife for whatever reason. And in this way, you are put into a difficult situation, very difficult, emotionally and mentally. You suffer. But somehow or other, through the middle of all of this, Krishna is guiding us to make us take shelter of him. Through all that difficulty, you take shelter of Krishna. And you become focused on the mission, like Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was mentioning how focused Prabhupada was in Radha Damodar temple. He sent them upstairs, just get rid of everything. So they carried out the order, but at the same time, we understand that Prabhupada was not interested in the past in so much as he was more concerned about the use of his time every day. And you can see how hard he worked, creating all these manuscripts, all these articles to educate other people. He was channeling, by the grace of the Lord, all of this transcendental insight to the conditioned souls. That was his mission. So Prabhupada says, by such actions, the devotee of the Lord, the bewildered devotee, is forlorn by all friends and relatives, and the devotee comes to his senses again, thank you very much, by the mercy of the Lord, and is set right to execute his devotional service. Now I want to mention Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. When many of us joined the movement back in the 70s, what happened when your parents found out that you had joined the Hare Krishna movement? Well, guess what? They rejected you. You're not my son anymore. You're not my daughter. You've joined a cult. You're running around in pink robes with your head shaved. That was a shock. When they saw when you went home to see your regular family, and say if you were in a particular Canadian family, some people, there are many Italians over here, and family is everything for them. Oh, my mama, my dada, my papa, what has happened to you? Look at you. You look crazy. And the people were intimidated. The members, they were frightened. I know when I went home, my father looked at me, what happened to you? Look at you. You're a disgrace. Mamma mia. So this type of thing went on back then. You were rejected by your family completely because you took up a process which was different than what they considered to be normal. What is normal? Well, in the Western world, normal means do everything wrong and nothing right. That's what normal means. It's like when Rudrani, our devotee in Toronto, was captured by these deprogrammers. They took her to, in 1974, they stole her from the Toronto temple, and they took her out to the east coast of America, Canada, in Kentsville, Nova Scotia. And they put her in a motel room. They told her, oh, we're going to try to make you normal again. Watch TV. And by the way, you have to eat meat. You cannot, be a vegetarian. That's food deprivation. You've got to eat meat. She didn't, of course. And then they said, well, you can't chant these rounds all the time because that's mind manipulation. You're repeating the same thing over and over again. This is going to control your mind. And by the way, you have to sleep 10 hours a day. You can't go to bed early and get up early. That's sleep deprivation. And in this way, they promoted this philosophy that we were brainwashed. Complete madness. I was on a national TV show, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, with Professor Joseph O'Connell. After the Jim Jones episode took place, where 900 people drank Kool-Aid and killed themselves down in the Americas. So there was a campaign to discredit us. So we were rejected by everyone. Back then especially, we went on the streets, people looked. Some people felt they couldn't handle it and they left the movement. Oh, I can't do this. I've been rejected by everything and everyone. Because we're conditioned by material life. We're in a state of confusion. And Prabhupada wakes us up to teach us very important lessons, that we're not the body, that we're the eternal servants of Krishna, that we'll die very soon. And if we use our time and energy in the service of the Lord, we'll get the greatest benefit. Not become bankrupt at the time of death. Bankrupt. Useless activity that goes on in life every day. And we think, oh, I'm forlorn. I'm not normal. Well, people are crazy. This world is insane. And we're in an insane asylum, everyone. Don't think it any different. And if you think that this devotee group is crazy, that's also a big problem. Yes, we're preaching. We're speaking subjects that some people may find offensive. They may find it dangerous. Oh, you're a dangerous group. What are we dangerous for? Because we're telling the truth? Because the truth is being spoken in our group to everyone? And someone saying, well, who are you to say that? Well, Prabhupada explains here, sometimes you may fall down. I've certainly had my experiences with Maya, personally. I've been up and down throughout my life like on a roller coaster of life. But somehow or other, Krishna kept a covering, a protective covering over myself and all of us here. We're all experienced in that. And now we're marching. We're building our momentum. We're starting to reestablish the mission of the Hare Krishna movement through the Hare Krishna Society. And Prabhupada, I wanted to further, just before we go to our panel, is that Prabhupada was mentioning about this forlorn condition is more fortunate because such forlorn devotee swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless all around. Pure devotional service is so much spiritually relishing that such a devotee becomes automatically disinterested in material enjoyment. This is the sign of perfection in the progressive devotional service. Sign of perfection. A pure devotee continuously remembers of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna and does not forget him even for a moment, and in exchange for all the opulences of the three worlds. So this is common amongst Christians and other groups. When you're in trouble, that's when you think of God. Oh yes, God saved me. I've been a sinner, but now give me shelter. It's not our business simply to remember Krishna when we're in trouble. Like you go to the doctor and you get the announcement, oh, by the way, sir, you have cancer. Cancer? Not me. I can remember Yaśodā and I know you've had cancer of the colon. Remember when I had cancer of the urinary bladder, I had 5 operations. So for the first 2 operations, I denied I had cancer. I can remember being in his office. And the doctor says to me, oh, by the way, you have cancer. I go, no, I don't. No, I don't. Yes, you do, stupid. Who do you think you are? I'm telling you, you have cancer. No, I don't. So we live in denial. Finally, I accepted, oh, I have cancer. I went to the operating room 5 times. I had multiple tumors in my urinary bladder, and thank God my doctor that Krishna sent to me was an expert, Dr. Masumoto, and he removed all the tumors, and I'm, back to living a regular life. So like that, sometimes we get these announcements that we've got trouble. We may become depressed. But this is a signal from Krishna to take shelter of him. These difficulties may come, they may go, but our commitment to the mission of Śrīla Prabhupada is our focus. This is it. This is our focus. Take shelter of Krishna, take shelter of the holy name, take shelter of the mission, take shelter of your service, take shelter of the process of bhakti yoga in association with other devotees, everyone. And you'll be protected from everything that exists in this terrible material world. Yaśodā-nandana, please, if you could further comment.
I had a devotee recently ask me, why do you keep always wearing this chadar here? Well, this is a Harinam chadar. And due to the fact that I'm so followed, it's like a shield, because every time I wear this chadar, it reminds me of Prabhupada wearing the chadar. So this is very important. I just want to read a statement from Śrīla Prabhupada. This is a little booklet we've compiled. It's available on our website. It's called The Unique Historical Position of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Acharya for the Golden Age. This was originally written by Dhammagosh, Narasimha, and myself. And within that, there's a very important conversation with Prabhupada on a morning walk in Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh, India, on April 20, 1974. Morning walk conversation on April 20, 1974. Śrīla Prabhupada. Yes, between Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha, Panchadravida, the Nitya Mukta devotees, Prabhupada, They're always engaged in the service of the Lord, and every thought of theirs is engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna, of serving him completely. And when they appear on this earth, persons like yourself, they only come here for the purpose of reclaiming the fallen conditioned souls. They have no reasons to come to this material for their own enjoyment. That is never on their mind. But the Nitya Baddhas, they're simply here to try and manipulate this material nature so that they can engage their own senses in gratification, either of themselves or their extended self, like their family. So the difference between the two is one is serving Krishna and the other is simply serving his senses. Śrīla Prabhupada, is that all right? Satsvarup, eternally liberated and eternally conditioned. Śrīla Prabhupada, eternally liberated, they never forget Krishna. There's no period throughout the existence. There is no question of existence. It is their all existence, never touched by Maya. Panchadravida. Forgetfulness, that is Nyabukta. Panchadravida. Śrīla Prabhupada, you were talking that a person, he can come up to that position of Nitya Mukta by either following the principles of sadhana bhakti or causeless mercy, or you said there was also the question of kripa, the kripa siddhi, that one can attain perfection. Śrīla Prabhupada, no, that is sadhana bhakti. Panchadravida, oh, one gets mercy by sadhana bhakti? Śrīla Prabhupada, yes. In the stage of sadhana bhakti is for the conditioned soul. And siddha means they're already mature. Siddha means nitya siddha. Hare Krishna. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada, the personification of pure love of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Just before we move forward with our panel, and we'll bring Krishna Katha on the screen, I want us all to meditate on this one principle of understanding, which is illusion. And this is a topic which Prabhupada constantly emphasizes in our philosophy. It's called Maya, as we know. And this is the state we suffer with, Bhaktijad, that we are in this illusion. And the meaning of the term is that which is not. So we can think, oh, I'm a brahmachari, I'm a grihasta, I'm a sannyasi, I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm old, I'm young, I'm old. All these bodily concepts. It is hard to understand that which is not. We are not these things. Krishna Katha, Prabhu, please, you've got your hand up with the books. Please share your insights. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vishwakarma and Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, and for all of your tireless dedication to such a wonderful connection to Śrīla Prabhupāda's wonderful movement. So in the beginning, you, Vishwakarma, you mentioned that you had sent that link about the El Salvadorian story, and I listened to it on my way to the temple yesterday. I have an hour drive. You know, Prabhupada's temple is still his temple, even though there is a one drop of contamination. But that's okay. We don't get into that anymore. We just look for solutions. So briefly, I'd like to mention the outcome of that, how it happened in El Salvador, that suddenly they became the safest country in just less than 5 years. It's because their leader, their president, has God in the center of his life. Very interesting. And he gathered his cabinet, his Congress, and his military brass, right? Commander, leaders, and they prayed every day, multiple times. And he explained that one of their prayers specifically was asking for no collateral damage, because they doubled their military. They knew they were going to go up against the most ruthless and dangerous gang infestation in the world. More than Colombia, more than any other country you can think of, Mexico, that has major criminal gangs, cartels, that are ruthless, that shoot people for no reason, kill them. So I likened what we are doing here on this amazing mission to reestablish Śrīla Prabhupāda's original mission and protect and preserve his legacy. It's a great mission. But how did this president do it? It was by collective prayer, which is what we are doing every day. And the result, you have to judge things by the result. You said that earlier. What was the result of all this collective prayer in El Salvador? Not one innocent citizen was killed in this great battle of eliminating these criminal gang members in the thousands by either death or by incarceration. They arrested them to spend the rest of their life in their jails. And they eradicated the violence, and they went from the most dangerous to the safest country. Now, we have to be careful to think, well, how is it that their prayers are answered? We are doing what they are doing, perhaps on a more intense level, because our spiritual master is Nitya Siddha. He's directly in contact with Krishna, always. He always will be, and he always is. But you cannot deny the power of collective prayer. You cannot deny it, even for a country that is Catholic or Christian, and that doesn't matter. God is in everyone's heart, and these people sincerely prayed every day, multiple times, no collateral damage. And that was the result. Their prayers were answered. Not one innocent person died. That's an amazing story. So for all of you that don't listen to this, I'm giving you the conclusion of this story of El Salvador to illustrate how powerful collective prayer is. We are doing this in this class today. All of us are meditating, which is prayer, on pushing Prabhupada's movement forward in its original form. Prabhupada's Vani is with us everywhere all the time. And that's how we stay connected. I speak regularly and joyfully with one devotee that's on this class right now. And that is my connection to bhakti, because we are serving the servant of the pure devotee. And without that conversation, without that connection, what am I doing? I'm allowing Maya to direct me somewhere else. And we cannot let that happen. We have to stay connected every day. Like these 3 classes a week are the most nectar that I'm drinking all week. And then every day, I stay connected by speaking with you, Vishwakarma, by emailing devotees, getting answers, by connecting with a devotee on the telephone. And we are on preaching projects together to establish Prabhupada's movement everywhere we go. So I cannot tell you enough how important these classes are for everyone to go back on YouTube and watch them. I've done this. Sometimes I'll just randomly choose one. And while I'm honoring prasadam in my house, I'm listening to a class from, I don't know, a month ago. Because there's what, 300 now, Vishwakarma? That's amazing. Over 300. So we are witnessing the dedication of collective prayer of these 2 devotees, mostly yourself, Vishwakarma, Yaśodā. I am just drawn to this because this is the real nectar. This is the most pleasing project to Śrīla Prabhupada currently, right now, in this universe. There's no doubt in my mind. So we all have the opportunity to utilize this amazing technology that Yaśodā-nandana brought up earlier about Facebook and this. You have to be careful. You have to be careful what you tap or click on. But you'll know, because you have Krishna in your heart, when something is bogus and nonsense. You just get off of it immediately, just click away. It's like, no, that's not correct. You can tell. So I'm very careful who I associate with online. And it's pretty much just our group. There are some others that I listen to because I know they're trying, right? They're attempting what we are attempting to do. So you encourage them, you give them some guidance. You bring what you know to be what Prabhupada wants, and you say it in your own words sincerely. And then you get a reply like, Prabhu, I hadn't thought of that. Thank you for that realization or for that direction. So it's possible to bring so many people to this great mission by the use of the internet, like we are doing. So thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you so much. And the El Salvador story it's a fantastic testament to what can happen when you collectively come together. Like that bundle of stick example cannot be broken. One stick, snap it easily, but a bundle cannot break. So let's stay together, everyone. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All glories to
Yes,
Prabhupada.
everything is possible
Yes.
if we work together with these points that have been brought up today during our reading and discussion. And I wanted to ask our friend, God Brother Dharma Bhavana, if he could maybe share some of his insights today on this panel of discussion. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, wait, it's hard. Hare Krishna. I'm trying to get my video on. I haven't had it over here. Uh-oh. There it is. Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. Wonderful class. Part of our class today, it struck me, we're talking about asking questions. And if we look back at Bhagavad Gita is just questions and answers from Arjuna, and Bhagavan, Lord Krishna is answering the questions. Yeah. One time a devotee was at our house and we showed him the original book, and I mentioned how this is the Bhagavad Gita, the same Bhagavad Gita that Prabhupada gave Gita class from maybe 130 times. And the devotee said, wow, I've never seen this before. And I said, well, this is the original book, original pictures, everything is the same. So I just think it's really important devotees get in the habit of asking questions, even to devotees that we trust or we don't trust. We may know the answer, but if we ask questions, we can actually understand how other people are thinking. And one time a devotee came to my house, and he about 10 years ago, and he asked me, what did I think about the term living guru? And I thought about it. I'd heard the term before, but I didn't actually know what he was talking about, what he was trying to ask about. So I just paused a few seconds, said, well, guru is eternal. The spiritual master is eternal. I don't know, what do you mean by a living guru? So I just kind of got in the habit of asking questions and answering questions in some cases. So I didn't have anything really special to say, but I appreciate our class today. And but sometimes we can ask the devotees questions of, why are the books changed if Prabhupada approved the books? Another question we should be asking is, how come all throughout it describes a self-realized soul can give you knowledge? Why change this concept to water it down? Or why change the deity worship that Prabhupada gave us? It was really simple, and from letters in 1969, 1970. Why was it changed? Because most devotees don't actually know why the changes were made and how the changes. It's just kind of like, once I asked the head pujari, why are they offering the incense first to the deities, Radha Krishna deities, and then to the others? And the head pujari said, well, that's just a new method, indicating that if somebody just tells them there's a new method, they accept it without thinking. So this is all I have to say. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very interesting point. Thank you, Dharma Bhavana, or Sarva Bhavana. One thing is change. Yes, change goes on. It's a disease. And most dramatically, it's exposed. Prabhupada talked about, if you change something, then where is the potency of that book when it's changed by a third-class person? And this is the biggest example that we should remember. And why it was changed, the reason things are changed is because it's a mafia. It's a planned attack against truth. It's a mafia, criminal activity. So even the term ISKCON Mafia is relevant, because here is the example. They changed the Bhagavad Gita. Just approach the spiritual master and inquire from him submissively. Offer obeisances, render service unto him, because the self-realized soul, they have seen the truth. Proof. They changed that most important verse in the Bhagavad Gita from he has seen the truth to they have seen the truth. Dharma Bhavana, why did they change it from he to they? What's the answer? Because it's a mafia.
Actually, can I just make one point?
Yes.
I asked one devotee in my house also a couple of years ago. He gave the answer. He said, before Prabhupada was the guru, and now there's many gurus. So it's they means all the. That's the answer that he gave.
Well, that's not the point. The point is they changed it. No change. He to they. It's nefarious. It's demoniac. It's evil. That whole change disease has permeated the ISKCON movement and ruined it. If you don't accept that, you don't understand what we're saying. There's the proof. Prove me otherwise, or prove us otherwise wrong. So we want to thank everyone. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could please give us a final words in today's program. It's 11:34.
Well, I think there's been a lot of very important points. I want to point out in Prabhupada's final will on the 4th of January, 1977, Śrīla Prabhupada makes a very important statement. He says, there is no need for any change. If Śrīla Prabhupada felt that there was necessity to change the format, the word modes of worship, the Vyasa Puja, the pictures on the altar, the way to do kirtan, he would have given that instruction. But immediately upon the Mayapur festival in Mayapur of 1978, they started to change. The change disease. Śrīla Prabhupada in 1977, there was a very important instruction. He sent a devotee to Mathura, and he requested the devotee, you go and get some medicine. It was some eye medicine. You go to this specific pharmacy, you pay this specific price. Here's the name of the medication. Go and do that. The devotee came back. He went to the wrong pharmacy, paid the wrong price, and basically gave the wrong medicine. And Prabhupada, this is the disease with you Americans and Westerners, the change disease. You try to change everything. Prabhupada did not give an instruction to change the entire system of management of his society, the mode of worship, the mode of offering prasad, bhoga to the deities, the mode of offering the artik. None of this was given by Śrīla Prabhupada at the end. All of this is whimsical. And we all know what Śrīla Prabhupada warned us about whimsical behavior with regards to his spiritual master's institution. Prabhupada said a great institution was lost on account of whimsical ways. We can learn from this. This is a very important lesson. Incidentally, I just want to comment something about Bhaktivedanta on the screen from France. He has become actually pretty expert. Just yesterday, he sent me a picture of Krishna. It looks so exquisite and beautiful, full of love, full of sweetness. that I don't know if it's an A1 picture. Jayaradi Lee also does that, Puranjan's daughter. It's quite amazing the way that it comes out. It seems there is a lot of love and devotion in the way that this has come out to basically enthuse devotees, to remind devotees about Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. We'll get your question on Wednesday, Nilesh Sharma. Thank you, everyone, for participating in today's wonderful program of transcendental discussion and realization and spiritual ecstasy. Take these words of kindness to your heart and let us move forward this week and have a wonderful wonderful program of preaching and spreading Krishna consciousness in our own particular areas in this Namhata effort to revive the Krishna consciousness movement according to Śrīla Prabhupāda's instructions and teachings. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the kirtan. With Prabhupada chanting with the bongo back in the 60s. Yes, Yasoda, I'm sorry.
Should we allow Nilesh Sharma Prabhu? I think he's had his hand up for a little while. Maybe we could allow him to make a comment or two before we go to the kirtan. Just a
If you decide,
request.
Prabhu, we're over time though.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nilesh.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. I just wanted to say one thing about the comment which was made about two things: living Guru and they have seen the truth. So if let's accept it for a second, if they have seen the truth, if they have seen the truth, they can die too. Because if they believe in a living Guru, what happens once the Guru dies? That means there is a dead Guru as well. So if there is a dead Guru and that dead Guru has seen the truth and he still dies, what kind of truth has that dead Guru seen? So look at the stupidity of even the conversion or the change of these books. So if anybody asks you, do you believe in a living Guru? He says, yes, I always believe in a living Guru. There is no dead Guru at all. But there are people who die, and look at the bylaws of ISKCON. What do they say? That when your Guru dies or when your Guru falls down, because even though if they have seen the truth, they too can still fall down. So what kind of truth are they seeing? What kind of living Guru are they talking about? You can see them in their own stupidity. So we don't need to even say anything. The stupidity lies in that conversion itself. Hare Krishna. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, your tippani on this.
Well, this is a very important point. This stems from a conversation Prabhupada in Seattle in October of 1968, when Madhvisa asked Śrīla Prabhupada, I was referring to a living spiritual master. Prabhupada said, there's no question of living. Spiritual master is eternal. You may accept this spiritual master, that spiritual master. The point is that once they declare Prabhupada to be non-available because they say he's non-physically present, then all kinds of problems comes. Now, why do they offer Guru Puja in the morning and say, oh, Janme Janme Prabhu say? Do they even know what they're singing? Do they realize what they're singing? You're singing that you're my master birth after birth, but then you're preaching that he's not available, he's dead and gone. Actually, this was exemplified by one of the leaders of that group, who in 1979 in Vrindavan at the end of February stated, now that Prabhupada is dead, it's no longer practical to accept him as a guru. It's not accepting reality. No, never mind that another GBC tried to put an elbow right in his ribs and told him to shut up. But this is the typical example of the guru is dead mentality. Prabhupada is dead, they're living. They're trying to change the philosophy from Vani is more important than Vapu. In other words, that Prabhupada's Vani is always available. They're changing that their Vapu is more important than Prabhupada's Vani. We do not accept that nonsense deviation. Very important to understand. Vani, Prabhupada always said, Vani is always more important than Vapu. And we don't disrespect devotees who had the good association of Śrīla Prabhupada, their Vapu association. But let us understand the teachings properly. without distortion and without nonsense interpretation. Very important point. Thank you very much, Nilesh Prabhu, for bringing up these points. And I want to thank somebody else on this call. I don't know exactly her name, and I apologize for that. Pran Mohan Mohini or Madan Mohan Mohini, for her very, very steady support of these classes and her association. She is very dedicated to Śrīla Prabhupada. She's also a licensed attorney, but she's a very, very steady devotee. We thank you very much, Mataji, for your participation, and everybody else on this call. Dharma Bhavana, Venkat Bapra Prabhu in Bangalore, Joe Felici in Hamilton, Tom in Europe, and so many devotees, Cantadas in Trinidad, Tobago, because the idea is when we hear from Śrīla Prabhupada, this is direct association with the spiritual master. And this is the point I was trying to make earlier. What we have heard from the spiritual master, that is living. You never hear them quoting that. You never hear quoting them the beginning of the Bhagavatam, that he lives forever by his divine instruction and the follower lives with him. You never hear them quoting that statement in 1975 in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, when Prabhupada described about the appearance day of his Guru Maharaj. He said, it is not that he is dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. Let me shut up here and give the floor back to Vishwakarma. You probably have some very important statements to make. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
We're moving forward here. We always enjoy the dialogue and discussion with our God brothers. Make it clear in your mind that the whole thing that was perpetrated by the ISKCON group is a criminal conspiracy. Why I say criminal? Because it's material. It is a material conspiracy. It's a criminal conspiracy. Not necessarily well organized, but motivated by personal ambition of a few. And this is what we're dealing with, Krishna Katha. And this is what we'll expose and destroy. Done. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday evening. Have a good day of chanting and serving.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna